Shock report, new evidence of foreign government meddling in the 2016 election finally uncovered, but it was from the UK, not Russia, by Jim Hoft for the GatewayPundit.com, guest post by Joe Hoft. Okay, new evidence proves that a foreign government meddled in the 2016 US election, but the government identified is the UK, not Russia. After more than a year of the Mueller investigation, millions of dollars in the mainstream media's MSM relentless attack on President Trump, what do we have? Nothing really. President Trump tweeted in February that if the goal of Russia was to create discord in the U.S., then they have succeeded. They are laughing their butts off in Moscow. Get smart, America. And I've said that myself before this even tweeted out. Since this tweet, the Russia fairy tale has fallen apart. Corrupt Mueller and his team of conflicted, biased, and corrupt investigators and attorneys have found nothing related to their target, President Trump, and now their indictments are unraveling. Far-left Vox provided a list of those indicted by Mueller in February. It's a rather long article, but we'll go through it. George Papadopoulos, Michael Flynn, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, 13 Russian nationals and 3 Russian companies, Richard Pinedo. This California man pleaded guilty to an identity theft charge in connection with the Russian indictments and has agreed to cooperate with Mueller. I forgot about him. Alex van der Zwaan, this London lawyer, pleaded guilty to making false statements to the FBI about his contacts with Rick Gates and another unnamed person based in Ukraine. Okay, I'll keep them in mind. The Russians, the largest group in the above list, are the 13 Russians and 3 Russian companies indicted by Mueller. Mueller were expected to be no-shows, we know that. As their court case arrives, some people believe that the 13 Russians listed in the indictment are not even real people. They're certainly nowhere to be found and no doubt never will come forward, even if they were real. In this past week's case involving one of the companies listed by Mueller, Concord Management, Mueller's attorney Jeannie Rhee, who previously represented the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton, suggested that the Russians indicted by the Mueller team worked for Concord Management. But the attorneys for Concord Management stated that they never have worked for their client. Mueller's corrupt and conflicted attorney Rhee also was put on the spot when Concord Management's attorney noted that the second company indicted by the Mueller team, Concord Catering, was not even in existence at the time Mueller's team alleged they committed crimes. Others suggest their crimes may really be too much Russian dressing on a tossed salad. Concord's management attorneys noted that the Facebook posts identified by Mueller's team were all in Russian, and Rhee and her team admitted having not translated them to English. So who knows what they said or how they somehow helped President Trump win the election. Overall, it's becoming clear that Mueller's indictments of the Russian individuals and entities supposedly impacting the election are a farce, and therefore these cases may likely be tossed, just like the salad mentioned above. General Flynn's case is also falling apart. The original judge overseeing the Flynn case, Judge Rudolph Contreras, was recused, and we still do not know why or by whom. Contreras is also a FISA court judge, and he may have signed off on the FISA warrant to spy on the general in the first place. He also is a friend of former Mueller team members, the corrupt Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. In their text messages, they text about meeting with the judge for dinner. The new judge overseeing the case has asked Mueller's team to provide all information to the general that he apparently was not provided when he pleaded guilty to lying to the Mueller team. The FBI agent who interviewed interviewed General Flynn stated that they did not believe he lied. It's looking more and more like the general was set up, and his case will be tossed as well. Paul Manafort was indicted for 2 cases. The first case is being prosecuted in Washington, D.C. Manafort is being charged with not filling out some forms in prior years, starting in 2005. Clearly, these indictments have nothing to do with Russian collusion in the 2016 election. Manafort challenged the case by challenging the legality of Mueller's investigation. He claimed that his case should be tossed because the investigation is not constitutional. When Assistant Attorney General Rod Rosenstein set up the investigation, he did not have a crime, and he set the scope of Mueller's work way too big, basically claiming that Mueller could look into anything he wanted. Both of these claims were valid. However, the judge overseeing Manafort's case is Judge Amy Berman Jackson, a Obama appointee. Judge Jackson has a horrible record and has seen her verdicts overturned by the Supreme Court. She tossed Manafort's plea. Judge Jackson should be impeached, and there may be support for this as the judge of Manafort's second case challenged the Mueller team on exactly the above 2 points. Also, the chairman of the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, last week sent a set of questions on this very point to Rosenstein for answers. Manafort's second case is another fraudulent case. Manafort obtained loans to pay his attorney fees by using some of his properties as collateral. Mueller's team charged that the amounts on the fair value of the properties were not accurate, and therefore charged him with bank fraud. This case was moved to Virginia per Manafort's option, and a good thing. The D.C. courts are filled with Obama crooks, i.e. Contreras, Jackson, etc. Judge T. Ellis III oversees Manafort's case in Virginia, according to Fox News in early May. A federal judge on Friday harshly rebuked special counsel Robert Mueller's team during a hearing for ex-Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort, suggesting they lied about the scope of the investigation and are seeking unfettered power and are more interested in bringing down the president. Judge Ellis has also requested an unredacted scope document from Mueller's team, and he received it on Friday. Based on recent events, this case may be tossed. Of other individuals indicted by Mueller, they all appear to have been coerced into pleas in a manner similar to the way they worked over General Flynn. As the Russian meddling into the 2016 U.S. election unwinds, the meddling by the UK is becoming surprisingly more apparent. Christopher Steele, we've known for over a year that the Clinton campaign and the FBI worked with former UK MI6 spy Christopher Steele, who authored a dossier of salacious statements about President Trump. Steele was reportedly paid by Fusion GPS for the document. Steele was paid $168,000 by Glenn Simpson's company, Fusion GPS, for the series of memos containing information that was selectively briefed to journalists approved by Simpson and used by the FBI. The Steele dossier was never verified and is suspected of being a total fiction. This act alone by a spy from the UK is troubling enough, but that is not it. Joseph Mifsud. George Papadopoulos, the lower-level campaign worker for the Trump campaign, appears to have been targeted by 3 individuals with ties to British and or U.S. intelligence: Joseph Mifsud, Alexander Downer, and Stephen Halper. Mifsud and Papadopoulos obtained positions at an organization named the Center for International Energy and Natural Resources Law and Security. Papadopoulos was a nobody at the center sketchy at best. Mifsud vanished in early November of 2017, shortly after Papadopoulos was in the news and indicted. His whereabouts are still unknown. Although the common story is that Mifsud is a Russian agent, many ties seem to lead him back to the UK intelligence. Julian Assange put out a Twitter thread noting the connection between Mifsud and UK intelligence. And I'm going to believe Julian Assange. Andrew Downer, the Australian individual who apparently overheard Papadopoulos talk about Trump and Russia in a bar, which alerted the FBI to the story. So look, Downer was a direct tie to UK intelligence from Hackley, where he served on the advisory board from the 2008 to 2014. And the mole here, Stephen Halper, that there possibly is the mole. Halper has connections to UK intelligence and US intelligence. Halper met with Carter Page just days after Page's Moscow trip. Other internet sleuths tied Halper to the Obama team of crooks. Halper was paid more than $400,000 in 2016 for his efforts to set up Papadopoulos and get him to sing to the Australian diplomat about Hillary's emails being held by Russia. So that was another plant. Robert Hannigan, I don't remember him. Hannigan has been head of the GCHQ, and he subsequently resigned in January of this year. Hannigan only took over the UK surveillance agency in November of 2014 to oversee and more open approach after revelations of the National Security Agency whistleblower Edward Snowden put GCHQ on the defensive in 2013. His sudden resignation, he informed staff just hours before making this decision public, prompted speculation that it might be related to British concerns over shared intelligence with the U.S. in the wake of Donald Trump becoming president. But the GCHQ press release stressed his decision was exclusively for family reasons, as well as his ill wife. Hannigan has 2 elderly parents to look after. He will remain in post until a successor is appointed. It's still not known what, if any, connection to the Trump-Russia collusion fantasy Hannigan may have had. Yeah, because I don't remember that name. In summary, based on information to date, the UK had more to do with interfering with the US 2016 presidential election than Russia. The Obama team and the Clinton campaign spied on the Trump administration and used the entire government apparatus, including the CIA, FBI, and DOJ and others, to do so. It appears they also had help from the UK. These crooks were willing to risk you-know-what with Russia rather than face a Trump presidency. This all leads to the question, what is so damning that these many individuals would go to such brazen lengths to remove President Trump from office? This is clearly, they say, 100 times worse than Watergate. I say it's 1,000,000 times worse than Watergate. Yeah, basically that's the bottom line. That the UK was involved with this, more so than Russia any day of the week. Absolutely. But the real question is, why? Why to such lengths? Why? What was the mission? You guys know. NWO. That was the mission. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.